Hello, I'm Audrey. I'm going to talk about knitting. Yeah. Maybe I needed to add something to that. I could say a lot. Okay, so I'm going to tell you why you, as a geek, might find knitting a little interesting. I've noticed that there's a lot of overlap between geeks and scientists and knitters, even though it's a fairly creative kind of activity. So, number one, it's easy to get started. There is one stitch. Well, there's two, but the other one's the inverse of the first one, so it's very straightforward. Kids learn it, it's not hard. Most people that I've taught figure it out in about an hour of practice, and then they need refreshments. That's okay. This is kids at the state fair learning how to knit. They probably feel pretty confident at the end of that session. Maybe I didn't plan enough. Okay, but knitting can be very hard. These are teacups. These are teacup size. That is very tiny yarn. You can get really complicated with knitting. Once you get past the initial learning curve, it feels hard at first, but then it gets easy, and then you find yourself maybe knitting teacups. This is an intricate colorwork pattern. It's done with two colors of yarn at once. And this is the first kind of hard knitting that a lot of people try. Although this is maybe a little bit harder than some things. The guy that does this does these crazy quilts. It can be very low-tech. Those are sheep. Sheep, I think, are about as low-tech as you can get. But knitting really starts with sheep, unless you're allergic to wool. And you take the fleece off the sheep, you throw it into yarn, and suddenly you're spinning and knitting, and that's Colombia, Bolivia. Very low-tech, does not require electricity, does not require much more than pointy sticks and string. It can be very high-tech. This is a computerized knitting machine that is turning sound files into garments. Very computerized, can be completely automated, can program in crazy patterns, and the machine just does it for you. This is a fiber called indio, which is made out of corn, which seems low-tech, but they're turning the corn into things you might want to wear, which is kind of complicated. There are quite a few different high-tech fibers like this on the market now, including a bamboo one, which does not look at all like bamboo when you get in the garment. Okay, involves math. This is a binary scarf, but the kind of math I'm talking about mostly is not binary math. It's geometry and algebra. You often start a pattern by knitting a swatch, and then you use algebra to figure out how many stitches it takes to go around the body, and that's what this is demonstrating. There's a woman named Elizabeth Zimmerman who figured out that you could do a sweater as percentages. So 100% is all the way around the body, and then you have percentages for the arms, and percentages for the necks, and you just knit. However, you don't have to calculate it yourself. People have written patterns for you. You can follow these patterns. There are patterns for just about anything you could think of. So when you work on the computer all day, often your results are very virtual. You can't, hug them, pick them up, show them to your cat. With knitting, you can. Your cat may find it very interesting. That kid, I'm not sure. You may like the hat, maybe not. You will create a lot of interesting, different tangible objects. Not just dog sweaters or lampshades, but I've seen knitted digestive tracts, knitted uteruses, knitted geometrical constructs in, like hyperbolic planes. And, knitters are very tech savvy. You would not believe how many knitting blogs are out there if you don't already read them. The top one here, Yarn Harlot, she's got, this is as of last week, but she had a tech rating rank of 384. It's a lot of readers. This is a site called Ravelry. It's kind of knitting 2.0. You put in your patterns that you're working on, and it's got thousands and thousands of people using this. I'm serious. You put in your patterns, and then you find other people knitting those patterns, and you start talking. These are knit-alongs, which is where people online get together and they all knit the same pattern at once, which I think is one of the coolest things about the internet for me. And on here, there's actually 2 knit-alongs for people who watch House and knit. I don't know if you knit but anyhow, so you can get started by finding a class. Portland, I've heard, has maybe the most yarn stores per capita. It has a lot of them anyhow. There's a great book called Stitch and Bitch that gives you exactly how the stitches lay on the needles, which is great. You can also ask a friend. And if you don't have any friends that knit, there are probably people here that knit. I know I'm not the only knitter. So, when you get to that socializing, you can see something. And that's it. Thank you.